Hello and good afternoon or good evening or maybe even good morning and welcome to the Neoteran Herald Weekly, your weekly astrology guide. As always, your astrologer, Joroge Wahome Warugogo, coming to you as we count down to the start of week number 37 of the Neoteran calendar 6 year is just 1 hour, 5 minutes, 30 something seconds away. So I want to welcome you. I want to give you just a brief time, get comfortable. Today we have what an event-packed episode that is going to give you complete and very actionable information about what is significant astrologically over the course of the next 7 days as we count down. This is to the start of the astrological first day of the week. Astrologically, from our town standard point, we calculate. So we are exactly 1 hour, 4 minutes, and some few seconds away. Just want to give you just a couple of minutes, get yourself settled in, and then we begin in earnest in just 2 minutes time. So I'm going to take a lot longer than that. Welcome and invite others. Share this link. Tell anybody you know there is something significant here. You want to understand something about time, about this new week. Maybe you have a business, you have an engagement, you have an appointment, you have an interview, you have a social or any sort of business uh, a appointment this week. This is the episode that will help you come out of it dominant, profitable, and having set the pace for your development, for your advance, for your ascendancy. So thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. The 2 minutes that we're giving you are over. I want to just welcome you back. I can monitor the live chat and see we have a peaceful viewer with us, much better than we have been the past few weeks. And this amazing. Let me know also if you can hear my voice clearly and or if I need to adjust anything for that matter. So let me know that. Even as I jump headlong into looking at the patterns that we need to take care of this week. Okay, so I want to come to the alignment. These are the planetary dimensions for week number 37. They are as displayed. Let me know also if the music is a little bit too distracting. I can touch it down a bit so that it's just there within the background to just keep you, at that particular frequency that we need you to reason and, get an understanding of the things that we are talking about. So here we are talking about the celestial dimensions, the terrestrial dimensions at the midpoint in the week, which happens to be on the date 17th of our calendar. That is exactly this on Wednesday, sunrise at Townnet Standard Astrological Time. Taunet astrological time. That is when we take astrological sunrise, astrological sunrise. This is when we take this a snapshot. Is a snapshot across time, but it gives us an understanding about what is happening, and you can be certain that it is so because if you look at week 36, which is the slide that I'm pointing at now, is significantly different. If you look at, well, this is already according to the order of the planet by their president, the one that has the most consequential programming and standardization of the data that we are talking about. That is the sun. And we go all the way down to their setting node. Well, there is it's not a supremacy battle here that we are beating the planets to, but I just want to give this order in a way that we understand that they have significance across time and programming of the seasons and the disposition that we are living through. So, other than that, let's also quickly, I don't go into any details here unless you really want something specific to be pointed out because it's just the numbers and we share. Certainly, we'll be sharing these graphics and these tabulated data with you. The essence of doing it because this data has the very same sort of format and outline and everything in accordance to your natal profile. If you have a proper natal profile that includes all the 16 major planets and you are seeking their significance, you can just go to your natal profile and you'll be able to see some concurrence there. You may even identify certain patterns that I have not yet climatized or come to program or come to identify significance. Now, so that we don't take too much time, just talking technical details, and we need to go to the part that is helpful for you. This is the order of the planets that they will be this week. At least at the midpoint of the week, the moon will be foremost. It will be in house 3, celestial house 3. Remember, celestial houses and terrestrial houses are very different. Terrestrial houses, they are raised the other way. That is, I don't know how I can explain it, but in the sort of what we call uh, uh, retrograde way. Okay, and therefore that is why you see the moon and these ones they change. A planet changes terrestrial house virtually every 2 hours. Okay, so that within 24 hours it has covered all 12 of them. Well, that's not the objective of looking at. Like just number these planets according to how the order they are in. The moon is in house 3. The anti-solar point in house 4. The midway point of house 4. Pluto is still in Cabell and it's in retrograde, as you're going to see soon. The ascending node, the lunar ascending node, is in house 6, as you've been observing, and it is still undergoing this phase. This is the negative descent. Normally, other planets, when they are in house 6, we'll be talking about positive descent. Positive descent, in that it is climbing, it's coming closer and closer to the 3, towards the 0 from negative direction or a very low negative number to a very rather or even a high negative number to a low one, not to 0 towards 0. Okay, then we have Neptune, as you have been observing for a long time. It is still in Habizelda. Remember, Neptune and Vesta have been in conjunction. They are at the entry point of Habizelda, and we'll see a little bit more about that change that is happening within Habizelda. Remember, we've been monitoring a multiplanetary conjunction at the entry point of House 7, House Habizelda. Let me check the chat so that I can be sure. Thank you so much, Joshua Kitetu. We are glad to have you as well. And I see people, they are not complaining about my voice, and that means I am. You are getting my voice as well. You're getting it well. Thank you so much. So we're at Happy Zelda, where there's a lot happening, and still the multi-planetary what is going to continue. We're going to note this in the highlights, of course. Planet Aries is there. Then we have there's still Happy Zelda and House 8, towards House 8 and 9. Also, there's plenty of you see a lot of astronomical activities happening there, and therefore, like the moon is right now across this week, it will be traversing through virtual because it's in house 3. It's basically no what that is there. It's house 4. Well, it's not a planet, it's just an indication of the point where the sun is, and within the next few hours, it will align with this point to give us the lunisolar opposition, which will cover when it comes to the section about the moon. And then it will be going through virtually not very inhabited houses until it goes to house 7, 8, and 9. Happy Zelda 8 and 9. And that's where we find all these planets. Begin with Neptune, of course, Vesta, Saturn, Eris, Mars, Uranus, Uranus, and the Sun. Then Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter. Now they are all in house 10. This is significant. They have moved all into house 10. Jupiter was there for a time. So this is significant. I know there are some people who have a quite a similar pattern to this one from their astrological profile. As I said, the descending node has always been throughout this year is still at the entry point of house 12, which to it because the nodes move in retrograde fashion is actually an exit. It's preparing to come out of house 12, and sometime next year we will notice that happening. Of course, with the abbreviation key. I don't want to go into any more detail into these technical displays. Let's go to a little bit more human, understandable arrangement, and this is the planetary order. This is the planetary order of the major planets on week number 37. As you can see, as I said, it is only the moon that is here at somewhere in house 4, and then we have an expanse really of the first two quadricells that is empty. And then we have these major conglomeration of major planets beginning from Habizelda all the way to house 10. So you can see what I was saying, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter are here. Previously, it was only last week. If you can go to the slide, and you'll see Mercury had not yet moved into house 10. So now we have house 10 becoming quite significant. It has one of the most programmable, most consequential planetary bodies that your eyes can see. And you should be able to see them in the evening. By the way, here they are visible in the evening. Look towards the west and see two bright stars that are not twinkling. That one, the one that will be closest to the horizon is Venus. The other one is Jupiter. Mercury is not all that clearly visible. It's not very, very well distinct, but if you have very good observable, what it will be just at the verge of what you can see it for maybe 30 minutes after the sun has set. They are evening planets at this point in time. So you should be able to see them over time. And actually, I've been enjoying that spectacle teaching young people. I have a neighbor with a child who's a prodigy. But one of the amazing things is he defeats me in some things. There's some things that he's told me I didn't know about. And I told him, do you know the planets? Yes. Have you seen them? Yeah. Where in a book, so that do you want to see them physically? They might have blown, show them to the very certain, I don't know, it's almost at a certain you will not be able to see it because you can only see it in the morning. It's right here, separated by about 2 houses. So for about 4 hours before the sun rises, you should be able to see, usually in about an hour, you should also be able to see planet Mars here. Okay, in the morning, the ones so that we remember always the sun is the one that designates what is in the dawn sky and what is in the dusk sky. If it is to the right of the sun, then those planets will appear there in the dusk evening sky rather. And then the dawn late night, you'll see the ones that are to the left. Like simple things about practical astronomy you can try. Let's look at the minor planets ourselves. Even as we monitor the countdown to the new week, we have 52 minutes to that period coming to be. So let's look at the minor planets now. Let's go to the minor planets for week number 37. Or can we look just first of all at week number 36? Let's just look at week 36. I think that is the more natural way. This is where we left the minor planets last week. Minor planets are not as changeable, they are not as programmable, they are not as creatively significant as the major planets. But that does not say that they are out of the equation or they are not important. They just don't have as much creative significance, but they're important. They just are essential. The role of the major planets wouldn't be what it is were it not for the complementary mechanisms and balances and shifts that are provided by the minor planets and planetary celestial planetary points that we follow. So this is how we left them last week. As I said, if you just mentioned them very quickly, this is the anti-solar point. This is the point that is opposite where the sun is transiting through house 3 because the sun is exactly 6 houses further on in house number 9. Simple. Then here we have Pluto, which has been retrograde for at least the past couple of weeks. It is still there in Cabell, moving, inching very, very slowly towards, let's see if it wants to quit Cabell. But I can guarantee you it will not get enough retrograde momentum as to be able to exit Cabell. It could be, it will approach enough to have to start be enabling you to harness the creative energy in house number 4. House number 4 is the place we have Sagittarius, the Aka, the riding horseman. Okay, and then here we have the lunar ascending node. Here we had a few weeks before we used to have a conjunction. Actually, I think even last week this conjunction should have been there, but now that is between these two. That is not serious, but Vesta and Neptune. Vesta and Neptune in Habit Zelda at the beginning. That is, of course, part of the major water. And then Aries here still well within capacity to give you access to the creative energy within her house, Habit Zelda, and the any other alignment there is. And then here towards the end of house 8, we have two planets which were not yet in conjunction, but fast approaching to be in conjunct. That is Ceres and Vesta. And let's see. And then here at the very end, of course, we have the lunar descending node. As I've said, it is to the entry point of house 12, but inching closer to quitting house 12 in retrograde, as it always does, move to house 11. This will be a major shift that we are waiting for next year. Thank God, because of our ability to picture these things, we can know exactly what sort of things we'll be expecting this year, and we can start preparing ourselves for speaking creatively to appropriate whatever energy that is going to be available at the time. So this is week number 36. Week number 37 is where we are. That is our point. Has it moved really? Yes, you can see it is moved significantly across house number 3 to be at the midway point. Pluto, where it was stationary, the ascending node, pretty much the same way. And these have moved significantly further apart. They are still now not in perfect conjunction. Now they're no longer in perfect conjunction. Actually, they should have been in perfect conjunction. Actually, even up to now, they are in perfect conjunction. Up until tomorrow. Remember, this is a view from Wednesday sunrise. Right now, as we speak, this conjunction is still in force. Look here. Yes, these have resolved into a conjunction as we come to the midpoint of his week. That is Ceres and Ceres and Uranus. Ceres and Uranus will be in conjunction at the middle of the week and going through the week. We're going to look at these ones in the highlights as well. And there we have the lunar ascending node, descending node rather, here stuck in house number 12 towards the entry point, which, as I said, can also be considered the exit because that is where it's going to come out of house number 12 in retrograde fashion. So here we are at these points. I'm trying to look. If you do have a question, if you do have yes, I see Daniel speaking to us that you're saying about week 37. Yeah, but you do look at week 36 too as well to just provide context about where we are. Thank you so much. Now, one of the things we're going to be implementing is we want, if you go on with the live chat, there's going to be incentives. Like this week, we're beginning an email program where we're going to be giving more specific instructions, much more specific than what we are telling you today. Because when you go to the highlights, we're going to tell you this is happening on this day. We will not tell you the hour, we will not tell you how you can activate that. Now, if you just send me your email, and you can type your email in the chat. If you can type your email in the chat, you will receive a free email for the most significant, for the major, rather, let me not say significant, but for the major alignments this week and what they are about. We are working on that email to go out by tomorrow morning to enable you harness everything and anything that those significant events. There are not too many, but the major ones, maybe 2 or 3. We'll tell you what time it is, what language to speak. If it needs any positional, postures, we also include that kind of information and a little bit of an explanation of why that is significant for you. So please, you're tuned in, you'd like to receive that free email, type it there. There are other emails that we are able to give that is far much more actionable for more specific alignments happening in the week. That one also I'll give for the top fan, the person who said the most messages today, person who said the most uh, chat messages, they'll get that. I hope you're listening to me. So we'll evaluate that and we look at the top fan at the end of the stream. And that person is going to receive even more actionable email, but you have to provide us with your email. Become the top fan. So just make any comments to inform us that you're listening to us, you're hearing what we're talking about, and even whether you like it or you don't like it, that can be good information. So we are just over 45 minutes away from the start of the new week. What I'm going to give you is another couple of minutes, just 2, 3 minutes. Okay, just allow me also to get a cup of water and catch my breath as I come back to give you even more guidelines about what is happening in the week. Thank you so much. Thank you and welcome back. Hope you've also settled down and you are now well relaxed as we go now to the most significant part of we are going to the most significant part of the episode today, and that is where we look at the highlights. We look first of all the calendar, the week's calendar, and here, the calendar week number 37, falling at the middle of year of month number 9C, the ninth common month of the Neoteran calendars, year 6. Sorry, I realize that I'm not displaying the calendar, but here we go now on the calendar. So that's the calendar I wanted you to take a look at. And we are at the beginning of the week. Thank you so much. As I look at we are looking at the chart. Yes, Daniel. wow, Bano, yeah, yeah, we consistently being the top fan. So good, grab yourself this both the free one. There are two kinds of emails that I'll be sending. Actually, there are more than there are various kind of emails that we're going to be giving you. But the first two, the first one is free, but there's another one that you can enjoy. The only thing you need to get that free one is just send us your email. Send us your email address, and we'll get back to you. So let's continue. Hopefully, somebody can challenge Daniel for that top fan spot. But for now, he's quite opening the distance of being the top fan for the week. Thank you so much. So we're talking about week number 37 on the Neoteran calendar, month 9, and here it is displayed on your screen. It is this week starting with a Sunday of the lunisolar conjunction. That is what's imminent in the next 40 minutes exactly. That is when astronomically and astrologically we will be able to say with certainty that week number 37 has started. Well, we're using standard time. Remember, we used to use two references. We use what is called the standard time. At the Taunet standard time, already week number 37 has started. But we have another clock that is even more accurate, but not convenient for humans to use for agreement because it's very personal. So astrological calendar is still the other one is just actually starting week number what according to the standard clock. According to the standard clock, that starts at 6 o'clock, at 12 o'clock rather, 12 o'clock in the standard time. But the astronomical time we have 39 minutes still to go. So that is the week, and starting on 14th all the way to the 20th. Okay, if you want the concurrent, the Gregorian calendar, I try as much as possible not to mention the Gregorian calendar here because even if you give you Gregorian calendar dates, these are that doesn't mean that they are equivalent. Sometimes we use very small typeface to include the Gregorian calendar dates to tell you that they are not the standard. They just are like reference points for interacting with the world that is already hopelessly tied to the quotes and closed quotes truth of time according to the Gregorian calendar and the AM PM clock. So there we are. And yeah, we look at the main events here. We will have then we'll have another week still to go together. So of course, the most significant thing happening this week, look at self, is the I may not call it the most significant thing, but the major highlight, the major event that is happening. A major event can be major, but it may not be significant. A very small, nondescript, non-spectacular astronomical event can be hidden from sight from everybody, but carry the greatest significance across any particular period of time. Thank you so much. So let's look at the highlights. This is the same thing we've been saying for many times, the multi-planetary conjunction in Habit Zelda, which I'll keep saying is Neoteran Celestial House number 7. It is continuing this week, but I've been seeing there is usually significant changes to this multi-planetary conjunction. So Vesta and Neptune's perfect conjunction at the cusp of the entry division Habit Zelda and the exit division of Celestial House number 6, it will end on Sunday. So this is something you're waiting over the next 24 hours. It is going to come to an end. If Vesta and Neptune's perfect conjunction is a significant marker for you in your natal profile, yes, you need to check that. We can skip that. Is you only have less than 24 hours to make use of this quite rare event. Maybe happens about every few years. I can definitely assure you, you'll wait for more than 2 years before this again alignment comes to force, and it's ending within the next few hours. Okay, but it's only significant for some people. It's not significant for everybody. This is not a universal one. This will not be in the free email. I can guarantee you. It will not be in the free email because it's not a universally significant astrological event. Now, Saturn and Aries are also in house and host conjunction in Habit Zelda, although we know Aries is actually completely legally within house number 8, but very, very close to Habit Zelda. So it is there. Saturn is just inching its way to the midpoint of house number 7, Habit Zelda. So All for now are in house and host conjunction. They are honoring, okay, or rather, these ones are perfect, but within a few hours that will change so that they are all. By the time actually we're coming to the middle of the week, none will be perfectly conjoined to the other. So I want to keep looking at the clock. We have about 6 minutes, so that's fine. We'll be able to go into detail, and because we have plenty of time, I will look at what? Yes, I'm trying to look at the comments. Thank you so much. Daniel doesn't seem ready to relegate the top fan badge for now. It's a good thing, great to behold. Uranus is ordinary transit. So why do we signify it ordinary? Because there are other transits that are creative gateway transits. That's the opposite. It can be an ordinary transit. It's not in any one of the four gateway transit points on the celestial heaven. So, and this is because you are moving from house 8 to house 9. House 8 to house 9 does not have those perfection of creative gateway transit, but it's still significant for some people. Again, this is just significant for certain people. Some it's significant, some is indifferent, but it can also potentially be not a good thing to do. It could be a trap for some people. Okay, again, the very same day, Monday 15th of the ninth common month of the sixth era regnum year in the Neoteran calendar, we'll witness another transit happening across the same, because of course we're talking about Sirius and Uranus being in conjunction. They will move, they will transit to house 9. Yes, they look like they are right on the border because they are quite very slow planets, but that of significance is going to be seen. Actually, you'll see this week there's a lot of transits, lots of transits. Some of them are ordinary, others are creative gateway transits. We don't have as many, what, this week, we don't have as many aspects coming into force, but transits are there applied. We have a bag full of them. Okay. Again, these ones apply. The only way you can get guidance about this is if we have your proper profile, and it will have to be a complete profile because, as you can see, many of them involve minor planets, and minor planets are usually relegated to the more premium versions of the natal profile. Okay. Now we're talking about a major planet that we concern ourselves with. This is a very, very significant one, a very programmable one, Mercury. But we said calling it Mercury is not enough to convey the kind of energy and creative access it gives, and that is why we use these two other adjectives, not two other adjectives, because Mercury is not an adjective. We use ultrasolar to mean that it is an evening sky planet, prograde to tell you it is waxing, it's increasing in energy, it is drawing further and further apart from the sun, it is attaining a distinct quarter of its own as it begins this phase of its cycle. And this is the third phase of Mercury cycle, solar prograde, USP. These are very good for those people who have done their astrological profile, their natal profile. You know, there is a pattern that I've been teaching people how to know just by looking at this table. Just by looking at this table without any astronomical knowledge, just be knowing how to interpret things. And you look at this column here. Sorry, I'm not destroying the right. I'm not pointing out at the right. But you're talking about this particular column. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether I can actually draw on it. Can I use a highlighter? I think I can. But I'm talking about this particular column. If you run this particular program, which talks about the phase or junction, it can tell you how well you are in line with a particular planet, especially the synodic one, Venus and Mercury. So if you want to know that you start to become an astrologer of your own, refer to me and I'll show you how to read this column. It is a very coded program. We don't know even the patterns that it reveals, but these patterns are very, very interesting. And this week, we actually instituted a new change to how this is is shown. For this week, it looks just March 20, the same thing as last week. But we have already instituted some certain changes to how we interpret this data that we call the phase or junction of the planetary motion. It's a very, very significant teller of what time it is, and we're going to continue giving it. So, all the more the reason to be curious about your natal profile, because you'll see it and you'll be able to tell there is what you can look at these patterns and look at the ones that are on your natal profile and then the ones that are on your on the weekly guideline and be able to tell if you are in a conflict or you are in good stead with the planets such as Mercury or Venus, especially. We are doing that even for other planets, and we continue to. It's a very important development. So there we go. Let's go back to our highlights. We were in this first slide. This one, no, we're in the second one. So we are talking about ultrasolar prograde Mercury beginning or getting into celestial house 10. Now, actually, this is a very significant thing here is that when it comes to Mercury, this highlight, it gives us information about, because this sheet is not in the synodic. Mercury's creative programming that we have up to now is in its synodic cycle. How it relates, it's not changing. It's either ultrasolar prograde designation. That speaks to the synodic cycle that is related with how and when it met with the sun in conjunction. And but this shift itself is in another cycle, the tropical cycle. Now, I'll be honest with you here. This is a blank plate. What it means, some of these things we have not yet assigned any particular correspondence to creative ability. We know we have a clue, but the people who start making questions about them are going to help us to unlock whatever it is that we can do with Mercury's tropical cycle. We've already done something with Venus's tropical cycle, so now we understand very well the distinction between Venus's prograde cycle. No, I mean synodic cycle, which is the one that gives us these two adjectives. They refer to the phases and the kind of change that is happening with our planet. So, but this shift in the what is not very clearly defined for Mercury. We know it, of course, it's related. It's related with the synodic cycles. By the way, I mean, the distinction between our system and other kinds of astrologers is because in other systems, it is the planetary body itself that is considered significant. For us, we acknowledge the planetary body, its appearance, its what is essential, but it is a cycle, and some of the cycles are actually not very visible or clear or spectacular in any fashion, but they are very, very significant. It's the cycle that we look at. It is the numbers and the changes and the trigonometry and calculus of these changes that give us certain indications and understandings about what is happening. Okay. Now let's look at something else that is happening on the very same. Again, remember all these are transits. Okay. Now we come to the aspects. The Sun sextile of planet Saturn is happening. What is a sextile? I have had to explain to people, several people who had me speaking about this, and they thought these were two words. I'll not interpret that for you. And then there's a gap here. Sorry, I'm pointing at the wrong one, but they're saying that these are two words. The sextile means just 60 angle. And they're saying that these are two words. They were from the way they're hearing me. And they thought it was, there was a gap there, and there was an S before T, and this was a Y. No, we're not talking about styles. We're talking about an angular measure between the Sun and planet Saturn happening on Tuesday, the 16th of our 9th common month. Again, this one is a universal. This is universal. No restrictions here because the Sun overrides any thing that Saturn itself may be able to impose as a restriction. The Sun says, this is happening on my synod, on my tropical cycle, this conjunction, that this what, and therefore you don't have to worry about the significance. So the timings, significance, what you need to do, say on Tuesday, again, it will be in that free email. But again, as if there's a higher email that is available to anyone that becomes the top fan today. That's a premium one that we usually prefer that you pay some consultation fee before you get it. Again, here there is another aspect. There's another planetary aspect happening on Wednesday. Happening on Wednesday. I mean, try to keep track of the what we are 25 minutes away from the astrological time, or the beginning of new day and new week number 37. So we're talking about the trine of Mercury. Mercury will trine. There's what I want to go and look at the comments again. Okay, good. Yes. Daniel says, yes, the mystery. And he says, ready for the challenge. And then he says, the mystery of the Neoteran calendar reigns supreme. Indeed, it does. The mystery, there is a mystic to our calendar, and it is beyond just anything. There is no one who can offer a system as really imbued with beauty, balance, and fidelity to natural cycles as we have done. That's amazing. Thank you for affirming that. It's important that we keep doing it because it is the truth. And you say you'd love to know about creative gateway transit. So, creative gateway transit represents where a shift in creative energy happens. Okay, we have four phases of creative energy. The basic way, the most you know, illustrative and picturesque way of understanding these creative energies, but not definitive one, is to think about it how you'd what you'd plant. You seed, then you'd brood over something, then you'd go to travail, and then birthing or harvest. So these are the four. So gateways, these creative gateways, like they are the signposts that show we are moving from one of these phases to the other with whatever planetary cycle is happening. So this one's happening. But in between them, there are other gateways. There are other, not gateways as such, but there are other transits that are ordinary transits. So in a cycle, normally we have, in the celestial cycle, in the celestial grid, we have 24 gateways. Four of them, or rather 24 gateways, you could call them, or rather transit points. Let's call them transit points. Much more accurate as a description. So there are 24 of them. 20 are ordinary transit points. Then there are 4 that are creative gateways because they show us where we shift. And of the 20, 10 are more significant than the other 10. Okay, 10 represent just ordinary shifts from one house to another. Then the others, some of them are significant than the others. The other 10 represent the midway points between the houses. They appear at the midway points of the houses. Some of them are significant because they show, they can, like let's say in house 3, the midway transit point shows a complete shift in celestial hosts. We are still within house 3, we are not changing house 3, but we are moving from the scorpion to Ophiuchus, the snake there. And that happens within an ordinary, like the lowest class, you'd consider it like the lowest class of ordinary transit points. Okay, thank you. And YouTube is giving me a warning that my connection is not very good, but I hope this does not continue for too long. I think it is improving. Good. So that is it about creative gateway transit points. Thank you for that question. It's very, very important, significant. It helps us even to visualize what we need to do. So we are only 20 minutes away? We are 21 minutes away from when we must peak to the start of a new day. And these are the transits that we are talking about. If we number them again, This was something that is happening. They're about one, they're about two here on this first slide. And then we have these five. So about seven have to do with the other planets. You know, the planet that has most programmability, the moon. So we are coming to it now. The lunar transits and alignments. And this is very, very significant. Yesterday I was with a group of people and I was explaining why this is why I you really need to shift to our calendar. Because the calendar, our calendar is the one that gives significance to the to the moon as a planetary body, as the major ruler of feminine creative energy. And you find the moon is much more programmable. It changes a lot compared to all the other planets. But now you are talking about these are highlights, essential highlights. Like even you see, like when it comes to this, what like you are talking about oppositions and conjunctions. Remember, and yet just a page ago we were talking about trines and sextiles. If we started talking about the moon's trines, sextiles, uh, uh, quintiles, and other what, we will need like 3 or 4 pages of just that information. So the moon, it just tells you the moon does more creative work, offers you more creative offerings to do things in a period of time than all the other planets, not just one of the planets, all the other planets, you combine them, the moon gives you. I'm giving you just a taste of it. And why? Because the moon has actually three, or actually four cycles. That is why this information cannot be contained. These ones are very what they are more or less what except and here we didn't we forgot our what again. This should not be just Mercury. It should be ultrasolar prograde Mercury because again this is also a feminine one, but nowhere near as programmable as the moon. And the moon, that is why we can only use the table so that we really, really designate, and we don't even manage to even quantify everything that is there about these changes that are happening. So let's look at these ones. This one is the most, is the man of them all. This is the one happening. If you see something happening with the moon on the synodic, that means it is open, it's free for all. You can be able to make use of it. And also, it doesn't mean that's for everyone. It also means you can use it for just about anything. Is it business? Is it family issue? Is it a personal project? Is it a priestly initiative? Something you're doing for the universe, for the nation, for your continent, for nature? The moon allows it because it's a Nordic cycle, no restrictions. But once you see that change to tropical, then restrictions begin to happen. And that is why only like now, I can only give you guidelines in the universe. So free, what if the moon is free with it, I also don't, I also give it free. So this is why I'm giving people the what, like now guides. And then it's not just saying because this is universal, doesn't mean that it's important because there's a foundation on which all the other things happen. You need to do the universal thing before you start doing the much more esoteric, hidden concepts. So Lunar solar opposition, the sun right opposite where the moon is, and you can expect tomorrow or even actually tonight to be the full moon night when the sun, as it sets in just a few minutes time, the moon way is rising as well to the east and will be bright all night long. Why don't we talk about this as the full moon? Because the full moon is the night itself, and this is a particular moment over the next 24 hours. As I said, you want to know about that? Let me know you want to by sending me your email address, and we will communicate to you this. And perhaps if there's still an opportunity to overtake Daniel as our top number one fan for the week. You could also get the other more what that will include even this tropical guide to this tropical alignment that are happening. Okay, so we're talking about the major lunar skies. We are talking about this one. This is very, very important. This is actually very, very important. Happening on Tuesday. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the planetary opposition. But before actually we go into that, let's just look at the countdown timer. As you can see, we are just over 15 minutes away. I want us to start speaking with just about 10 minutes or less thereabouts to start speaking about the new week in enforcement. Remember, what we'll do is we'll wait for that countdown to go to just about 3 seconds, and then we will use our most creative energy to speak into the week. There's so many things that we are doing these days, and the more participatory you are, the better it is for you. So please wait for that moment, just about 15 minutes time. If anything else, if you need, you can leave even now and come back. So you don't need this moment. That's why we do the countdown, so that you can know when we have the most significant opening in the fabric of time for you to speak. And that is just 15 minutes away. Let's go back to looking at the moon. Here we are. So, planetary opposition with Mercury, it's instantaneous. We say it's instantaneous. And because we know Mercury has some restrictions, even if the moon doesn't have really restrictions, this is on the tropical. If it was happening on the synodic, we would not be worried. But because it's not synodic, then here they are caveats. The moon, the tropical cycle of the moon has caveats. Let's talk about this other. This is the most significant one because this is special for the season we are living in. And the moon is doing a major, medium shilly lunar style. Medium shilly means upper mid heaven, upper mid heaven. So there's a lower mid heaven which we use IC Imam Shili to designate that. So we have these points that we're talking about, and we are using this is a creative gateway point. Remember now we have a description. So the medium Shili celestial creative gateway stands to your point. It appears as a tongue twister, but it is essential that we capture that kind of creative energy that is being given at this point. It is the medium Shelley celestial creative gateway start viewpoint. Good thing about this is progressive. It doesn't happen in an instant. You have point to the start of that energy. It's like an eclipse. An eclipse is also usually progressive. It starts, then progresses, reaches a maximum, then dissipates. But eclipses happen on the draconic cycle. It's usually draconic. Draconic is usually synodic, or rather eclipses happen there. We don't have an eclipse there. But if this was the moon was also going through the draconic cycle, draconic, points in its cycle, then this will have become not a free for all. So we look at what we just have what the moon is very far away from other major planets. That's why it's not doing conjunctions this week. This tells me some point in time. I think the week will have ended. We did have ended before it conjunct Pluto. I think it will conjunct Pluto sometime towards the end of the week, but we have not. We just choose 5 of them. So we're looking at this planet opposition with Venus and Jupiter because this was have to do with the major planets. But I'm sure there's a point, maybe Thursday or Friday, that the moon will also be in conjunction with the planet Pluto, the retrograde planet Pluto in Canal. So these ones happening on the tropical, they are very much about identical. They are not, this is significant, but not open for everybody, as I've said, unless you are the top fan this week and you've given us your email. So there we are. And this is week 36. This is not week 36, it's week 37. This is not week 36. It is week 37. Let's correct that as we go into a little bit of another break before we start speaking to the new week that is imminently upon us. So again, take a bathroom break, go get yourself a cup of coffee or something, and let's meet in just about 2 to 3 minutes time from now, preparing. And during that time, I also want to think. I want you to consider carefully what is it thing that you can do next week. Because in just about 11 minutes time, in just 11 minutes time, you will have an opportunity, unrestricted opportunity, to pick and power these events and the things that you want to do. I want this to be significant. I want us to be doing this very intentionally at the particular moment. It's essential that we catch that particular moment and speak with your consciousness foremost in your mind that thing that you want to do on those two things or these five things or 10, 20 things as you have. Your creative mind is the most powerful thing there is to progress and achievements. So please think about it as you wait. Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to the Neoteran Herald Weekly. Thank you for after that break. We have just had 7 minutes, and I'm looking at the comments. I see Daniel is asking the 24 gateways sounds like synonymous to the principle of 24 elders, the principle 24 elders concept. It could be. There's a likelihood of that. I don't know. Maybe we go to. I don't know whether they have the ranks, and we have four senior ones, and then we have 10 groups of 10, two groups of 10 with various rankings. I don't know for certain. I can't say for that for certain, but it's a concept worth exploring. exploring and looking at and considering. So you've given us what food for thought. Let's consider that. So we're only 8 minutes away, not 8 minutes, but actually 6 minutes away from the time where the new week, the new day starts. And I want us to, and I'm certain that as an instructor, just have foremost in your thought the seven most significant, not seven, but any number of significant things that you want to achieve over the week. It can just be one principal one, and let's pick to that moment right now. And as the new week is just what? Let me wait. I need to do something about the connection. Just give me a minute. Sorry. I just need to do something about the connection. It's becoming a little bit patchy. Sorry for that. I had forgotten to plug in my router. I was about to turn off and would have been cut off. So let's pick to the moment, even if it's just 4 minutes away. And I want to address myself to this conscious thoughts about the programs, projects, and objectives, desires that we have within our mind about these 7 days that are coming. And as this gateway to the new week starts, we recognize the shift that is available. We recognize the excessiveness of creative um, license that is there to speak to the success, to the ultimate fulfillment of these desires and objectives within our spheres of influence, every single one of us, and especially of those of us who are tuned to this moment live and who are going to witness what is happening within that time. And we are holding true and certain that these moments will be this the power of this moment is going to be replicated at every time that we will need that kind of provisional help from the eternal sphere. And every time we'll also need to cause influence by our own becoming and by our own standing and by our own stature in a confrontation or either in partnership with others, that we make way for greater things that are going to happen. Our dominion is assured, our ascendance is certain, our ultimate vindication of all the things that is spoken about is now imminent. It's going to happen. The course of this new day, the Sunday, the Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday, the Thursday, the Friday, and the Saturday that is coming just 7 days away. It will be a point when you're coming here for the next episode or the 19th episode, we'll be speaking of the victory that has been achieved. And as we come to this, the moment approaches, these things that we are thinking of, these things that are foremost in our mind, that are foremost in our centers of emotional stirrings, they will be accomplished. And I'm speaking about the energy that is going to be released now, that is going to be not just sufficient, but it will be enough to overflow and become of good, of virtuous progress to those who enjoy themselves to us, who even speak well of us, those even who accord us any sort of material support or succor across the 7 days that are coming.